The water empties out. That's the only way to describe it. One sound moves through the deep, and every living thing within range responds the same way. Fish freeze, squid kill their own light, beaked whales shut off their own sonar and go completely silent. Animals that have never seen a predator in their lives know exactly what that sound means, because every animal that didn't learn that lesson no longer exists. Something down here makes a noise that the ocean has spent millions of years learning to be afraid of. And we only understood what it was actually doing about 15 minutes ago. The sound doesn't come from something you'd expect. It isn't the largest creature in the ocean, it isn't the fastest, doesn't carry the most venom or the sharpest teeth or the most armor. What it carries is something no other creature on Earth has ever evolved. A biological weapon so precise, so powerful, and so far beyond anything human engineering has managed to replicate that the navies of the world have spent decades and hundreds of billions of dollars studying it and still can't build a version that comes close. It's a sperm whale, and the sound is only the part we can measure. When a sperm whale hunts, it fires a click recorded at around 230 decibels in the water. Start building a comparison list and you run out of references before you run out of whale. A jet engine at full takeoff thrust sits near 150 decibels. A rifle fired directly against your skull lands around 165. The detonation of a conventional explosive at close range reaches roughly the same neighborhood. The sperm whale's click is louder than all of them. And it doesn't fire once, it fires in rapid sequence, dozens of clicks per minute for hours at a stretch, each one aimed with surgical precision at a single moving target in total darkness, 2,000 feet below the surface. Get close enough and it stops being about hearing at all. Divers who have drifted too near describe the clicks not as a sound but as a physical event. A hard thumping landing inside the chest from clear across a swimming pool. Close the gap further and the pressure waves stop being uncomfortable and start being dangerous. This is a sound that can injure you without anything ever touching you. That's what's moving through the water right now. The part that changes the title from dramatic to accurate is the range. Sperm whale clicks have been detected by underwater listening arrays at distances of nearly 10 miles in open water, but that's the local number. There's a layer of ocean between roughly 600 and 1,200 meters deep where temperature and pressure create a natural acoustic channel. Sound fired into its bends back on itself and travels without dissipating. Sperm whales use it. Their clicks have been recorded crossing entire ocean basins. During the Cold War, the United States Navy built a global network of hydrophone arrays on the ocean floor to detect Soviet submarines. They called it SOSUS, the Sound Surveillance System. It worked. It also picked up sperm whale vocalizations continuously, from thousands of miles away, whether they wanted it to or not. A single whale hunting in the mid-Atlantic is acoustically present across a circle of ocean the size of a small country. Every animal in that circle knows something is out there. The response isn't random, and it isn't limited to one or two species. It runs across the entire water column, across every major animal group in the deep ocean, and it is consistent enough to have been studied. Fish that carry gas-filled chambers in their bodies, and there are billions of them at these depths, more vertebrate biomass than exists on all the land on Earth combined. Feel the pressure wave physically before they process it as a threat. The swim bladder resonates, the body registers danger before the brain even catches up. Squid extinguish their own bioluminescence. They kill their own light because the echolocation is finding the glow. Beaked whales, themselves deep divers and hunters, shut off their own sonar entirely when sperm whale clicks enter their range. In a dark ocean where echolocation is how you navigate, hunt, and communicate, going acoustically silent is the equivalent of closing your eyes and holding your breath, and hoping whatever is coming doesn't already know where you are. It already does. Studies of sperm whale foraging grounds show measurably lower prey density than the surrounding ocean. The animals don't just flee the whale, they flee the sound, and they do it fast enough to leave a hole in the water where they used to be. That sound doesn't come from a throat, it comes from the whale's head, which is the strangest piece of biological engineering in the ocean. Close to a third of the animal is one enormous structure built around a waxy reservoir that whalers named the spermaceti organ. It holds hundreds of gallons of oil whose entire function is to manufacture, aim, and focus noise. The whale drives air through it, the oil shapes each pulse into a tight forward beam, and the click leaves the head the way a searchlight leaves a lens. Except this searchlight is made of pressure, and what it touches, it reads. The most advanced submarine sonar arrays in service today require large hold-mounted sensor arrays, dedicated signal processors, and teams of trained operators to achieve reliable target detection at a few miles under ideal conditions. The whale does it alone, in crushing darkness, while simultaneously diving, swimming, and adjusting the beam in real time. Narrowing the focus, shifting the frequency, changing the pulse rate, all inside a biological system that fits inside a skull. Naval engineers have studied sperm whale echolocation specifically to understand what they're still missing. And they're still missing most of it. The scale behind the skull is hard to hold in your head. The big male runs about 60 feet and weighs over 50 tons, heavier than 8 elephants standing together, but the most remarkable thing it carries isn't muscle or bone, it's the largest brain that has ever existed on the planet. A sperm whale brain weighs approximately 8 kilograms, a human brain weighs about 1.4. The human brain, with its roughly 86 billion neurons, built every civilization, every language, every piece of technology in this video. The sperm whale brain is 6 times larger. We have no idea what it does with the extra capacity. What we do know is that it runs a sonar system that makes our best technology look like a flashlight next to the sun. And it carries all of that into a place built to kill anything that breathes. Sperm whales drop well past 3,000 feet on an ordinary hunt. The deepest confirmed dive sits around 7,400 feet, deeper than the crush depth of any military submarine ever built. The USS Scorpion, a nuclear attack submarine lost in 1968, is believed to have imploded at approximately 10,000 feet. Sperm whales have been acoustically tracked at similar depths. James Cameron spent years and $8 million building a vessel to reach the deepest point in the ocean. The sperm whale does a version of this commute before breakfast, without equipment, and surfaces without decompression sickness. To survive it, the body does things that sound like injuries and aren't. The lung collapse on purpose, the flexible ribs fold inward instead of cracking. The heartbeat slows to a crawl. The oxygen gets stored not in the lungs, but soaked through the blood and muscle until the flesh runs nearly black. By every rule that governs air-breathing animals, it shouldn't be able to be down there at all. It is anyway. And then it sleeps. Not lying down, vertical. Whole groups of them hanging motionless in open water like a sunken forest of gray columns, mouths slightly open. Switched off in total silence. We only discovered them doing it in 2008. The loudest animal alive, completely still. When the beam finally reaches a squid 2,000 feet down in total darkness, the echo comes back carrying everything. Where it is, how fast it's moving, how big it is, which direction it's facing. The squid can hang motionless, perfectly camouflaged, invisible to every eye in the sea. It can kill its light, stop moving, press itself against a thermal layer, none of it helps. To the whale, it might as well be standing under a streetlight. The beam is precise enough to pick that one squid out of a stadium's worth of black water and tell it apart from a rock, a fish, or the seafloor behind it. If a sperm whale has entered your stretch of ocean, it already knows your exact address. You will find that it is far too late. Some researchers think the sound does more than map, and there's evidence worth taking seriously. Bottlenose dolphins have been filmed using focused clicks to stun fish before eating them. The physics of a 230 decibel pressure wave at close range produces forces sufficient to cause disorientation or paralysis in soft-bodied mammals. Sperm whales consume an estimated 800 kilograms of squid every single day, a prey capture rate almost impossible to explain by swimming speed and jaw mechanics alone. and the squid found in their stomachs are frequently intact, undamaged, showing none of the tearing or trauma you'd expect from an animal that fought back. The prey doesn't seem to put up much of a fight. The most likely reason is that by the time the jaws arrive, the fight is already over. We never get to watch any of this because it happens in a black void miles down where no camera follows. The proof is written on the whales themselves. Nearly every adult sperm whale is wrapped in scars, pale circular welts the size of dinner plates from the toothed suckers of giant squid, the deeper gouges from the rotating hooks of the colossal squid. A tentacled animal that can stretch as long as a school bus and carries the largest eyes on Earth, each one approximately the size of a basketball. These aren't gentle meals. The prey fights back with 40-foot arms and serrated rings, and now and then it draws blood. It almost never wins. No one filmed a living giant squid in the wild until 2004. Footage of one in an actual deep habitat came years after that. Sperm whales had been eating them by the thousands. The entire time, we still treated them as sailors' mythology. Cut one of these whales open and you'll find thousands of hard, indigestible squid beaks piled in the stomach. Sometimes many thousands in a single animal. The kraken that terrified sailors for centuries turned out to be the snack. Humans met that sound long before we understood it, and it frightened us in ways we couldn't explain. Crews on wooden whaling ships in the 1700s would sit in dead calm water and hear a slow, heavy knocking rising through the hull, as if something enormous were hammering the boards from below. They thought the ship was breaking apart. They thought it was the dead. It was sperm whales talking to each other in the darkness beneath the keel. They called them sea devils, leviathans, and once harpooners killed enough of them to study the bodies, the scars only deepened the dread. What kind of thing lives down there and does that to an animal this size? They had no answer, so they built monsters out of the gap. In 1820, the fear stopped being a story. The sperm whale rammed the whale ship Essex in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, backed off, then turned around and struck it a second time. The ship went down. The survivors drifted for months in open lifeboats. Some of them lived only by eating the crewmates who didn't. A young sailor named Herman Melville later heard the account and built Moby Dick out of it. The white whale was never invented. It was a real animal that decided a ship was a threat and removed it. And then someone realized the thing they were afraid of was also the most valuable object in the ocean. What turned that fear into slaughter was money. The same head that makes the loudest sound on Earth was packed with the cleanest oil anyone had ever found. Spermaceti burned without smoke, refused to freeze, and lubricated precision machinery better than anything else available. So it lit the lamps of entire cities and greased the gears of early industrial age. For a stretch of the 1800s, the sperm whale was the most valuable animal alive, worth more dead and poured into a lamp than swimming. So we hunted them in the hundreds of thousands. We killed more than 1 million in total. The global population before industrial whaling is estimated to have exceeded 1 million animals. Today it sits somewhere between 300,000 and 450,000. We removed the majority of the species. We did it in roughly 200 years. Sperm whales reproduce slowly, one calf every 4 to 6 years, each calf requiring years of dedicated care from its mother and the wider social group. The whales alive today are the grandchildren of survivors. The deep ocean is still quieter than it used to be. There's a stranger side to all of this, and it shows up when the hunting stops. The oversized brain isn't only running a weapon system. Sperm whales communicate in patterned click sequences called codas, short rhythmic bursts that appear to have nothing to do with hunting. Different clans across every ocean on Earth use different coda patterns. The Eastern Caribbean clan uses sequences the Pacific Ocean clans don't recognize. The Indian Ocean populations carry their own distinct repertoire entirely. These patterns are not inherited, they're learned by calves from their mothers, passed down and modified across generations the way a dialect carries through a community. Young calves babble, they fumble the patterns over and over, producing broken, imprecise versions of their clan sequences. until they land the rhythm correctly, the same way a toddler works toward a first word. A research project that began in 2021 has now recorded over 4 billion individual sperm whale clicks and is feeding them into machine learning systems to map their structure. What the early analysis shows is that the patterns are not random. They appear to combine in rule-governed ways, the same basic elements arranged differently, producing what seems to be different meanings. That is one of the defining structural features of human language. If it holds, then the loudest animal on Earth has been talking in a language for millions of years, and we've been listening to it without understanding a single word. The sperm whale isn't the invincible monster the old stories made it out to be. Out near the surface, one animal hurts them anyway: killer whales, working in coordinated packs, targeting the females and the young. The sperm whale's answer is a tight defensive circle, heads turned inward, broad tails fanning outward like the petals of a flower, the calves walled in the center. Sometimes it holds. Sometimes the orcas peel one whale out of the ring, and it doesn't. What the sperm whale owns outright, what nothing challenges, what nothing contests, what the rest of the ocean has simply accepted, is the deep. Down there, the click isn't a warning. It's closer to a verdict. When a diver hangs still in open water and a sperm whale turns towards them, it aims its clicks straight through the body, reading the lungs, the bones, the heartbeat inside, scanning a stranger the way an airport machine reads a suitcase. Then it just holds there, watching. The loudest hunter in the sea, choosing to look instead of strike. The deep isn't afraid of the whale's size, or its teeth, or even its hunger. It's afraid of the sound, because the sound arrives first, sees everything, and gives nothing a place to hide. The water empties out every time. By the time you hear a sperm whale, it's already heard all of you. If this changed how you see what's living beneath the surface, drop a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep going. Then tell me this. A research team is currently feeding 4 billion sperm whale clicks into an AI, trying to decode whether it's noise or language. If they succeed, if we confirm that sperm whales have been carrying a structured language for millions of years, then every one of those 1 million whales we killed wasn't just an animal. Was hunting them closer to fishing, or closer to something we don't have a clean word for? Leave your answer below. I read every single one.